Well, you drew. Okay. Let's see. Let's start this. Jim Miller's garden. But first, oh, hold on. I'm gonna switch out of Wi-Fi. Hope I can. Okay. Are we still going? Yeah, we're going. Oh, got a viewer. That's nice. Dean, you haven't done your business yet, or at least half of it. Okay, restart. In Jim Miller's garden today, it rained and it was too wet to. I was going to pick corn, and I don't want to go through the corn and get all wet picking corn. So I'll do that later, and I'll just do a video with our dog Bean. Bean, oh, you eating grass? Okay. All right. First, the last couple days, there's this what do you call it? Repair shop over here, and they cut their trees on their property, and they're going to give my garden a lot more light, which is I want that I wanted all along. And the irony is, I did help them out this spring. This tree here I cut down against the advice of the family. Well, that's interesting looking. Okay, I found a way with a 12-inch saw, a 12-inch electric saw, to cut down a tree that's probably pretty close to 16 inches in diameter. So I had to cut from the sides and then cut from the back side, and this is the front cut. They call it this a hinge cut, and I used a jack to push the tree over. I used a car jack against this post, and I used a log on top of the jack, and I pushed it over. And it was kind of hairy for a while because it was starting to pinch my saw, but I reset the jack and tightened it up even more, and then I finally knocked it over. But 2 days ago, they cut this tree out, and the tree here with the cloth was a tree that I cut this side out, and then the other day they cut the limb that was leaning over the building, so they cut that out, and that's great. And then they also cut this. It was a kind of it's a big tree, but it's got some. It had a lot of rotten branches on it. A big old box elder that they cut out, and it's going to go over here. The sun's going to come up in the morning and shine on my garden a lot more. So I can plant anything anywhere. Before I had to, I worried about, putting plants that require a lot of light, where to put them. Now I probably can plant anything anywhere in the garden, and it'll work pretty well. So that was good. That was a surprise. Didn't cost me anything. I enjoyed watching this is the morning sun we're gonna get. So we might get parts of the garden are gonna get morning sun from dawn until like 11 in the morning. So any chats? Okay. Keithan Anderson says hi. Yeah. And Keithan Anderson, I'm great. I'm great. And I brought our dog Bean. Bean, come here. Bee 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 bee. Come on. You're helping with this today. Got a thumbs up. That's great. Bean, come on. Stay close. Okay. And I'm going to go through the garden, and there's no rain on the. It looks a little dark now that it might sprinkle, but there's nothing on the radar. And I'm getting bit by these horse flies. I don't like them. They're hurt. And horse flies like to bite before it rain a lot of the time, so they might be right. Okay. First of all, if you haven't seen this before in other videos, this is my raised garden bed that I used with logs from over here. These trees I cut down, and I used a lot of rotten wood and twigs and soil and all kinds of stuff, and I put in here and it started growing stuff. So oh, Kathan Anderson said you're cute. Bean. Look at that. Oh, you're not impressed. She says, why'd you take me out in the wet ground? Well, you need some exercise, dog. So, oh, where am I? I'm in Sweetwater, Tennessee. And down there is Sweetwater Creek. We'll show you later. And just doing my garden video. First of all, on this raised garden bed these are 6 giant Marconi peppers that Nana was disappointed that I didn't get Marconis. I got regular bell peppers, but I was looking for something to plant in this raised garden bed, and I got these giant Marconis, and I found them the first place I stopped. There they were, and I got them. They were a little expensive. They were like, what were they? I think they're $4 or something. There were 32 total, 4 into 36 bucks. Okay, well, that's what they were. Well, we need $6 of peppers off of each plant to break even, and we'll probably do that. So, all right. And that was in here, when was it? I think it was June 1st. I planted sweet corn in this other garden bed, and it's doing good. It's probably, some of it's 10 inches tall. And I'm excited that corn requires a lot of fertilizer, but this is just pretty much straight fertilizer here in this garden bed. It needs a little weeding, and I don't know where these tomatoes come from. I have really no idea. I did throw, I used some rabbit, the neighbors, they had some rabbit manure, and I put that here. And I also threw some of my mulch that actually came from over here that I took the lawnmower and I chopped the leaves up and I threw back over. So it's kind of odd that tomatoes ended up in material that technically didn't come from my garden. And I'm thinking of taking these tomatoes and transplanting them over here where these potatoes are, that they're really close to, I can dig them now, but it rained. And so when I dig them, I'll just move these tomatoes over there and see how tomatoes do in this type of soil. And it's got a lot of months in the south. There's a lot of months left in the growing season, so I'll have no trouble having the tomatoes, put a few tomatoes on for me. And here, let's see. And here's one of the red potatoes and they look ready to dig. Ooh, I got to cover this other one. Ooh, they're just popping up. There might be, if I get, let's see, if I get like 30, no, let's say if I get 40 pounds off of this, I'll be real happy. That's kind of a high bar, but um, here's a spot here that I had my, there was Yukon Gold potatoes, and I harvest them in my last live video, and it turned out real good. And I think I had a couple hundred viewers, so I'm happy with that. And I got some volunteer cabbage that are growing mostly in the corn, my fourth corn over there. And I'll bring those over. I think there's 7, so I'll try to get 7. I think there's good enough room for 7 cabbages in this little spot. And I'll try cabbage in the raised garden. So the raised garden is going to get some experimental volunteer plants to put in and see how it works. And the thing is with the Yukons here, okay, no more chats, got 2 thumbs up, that's great. With Yukon Gold, some of them turned it up really scabby, and it didn't hurt the potato much, but I have to peel a little deeper to get the scabs off. And I just wonder if these red ones will scab up too. So it'll probably be within a week I'll get these harvested. And yesterday let's see, I got, was it 14? It was 10, no, 16. I dug 16, 16 hills of potatoes, and I got, I got at least 60 pounds for sure off of them. So, and they're clean. There's no scabs on them. And a lot of good sized potatoes. And Bean says, quit talking about taters. Talk about dog. Let's go. Get some more viewers. They got bored with my tater talk. And there's 3 viewers. Bean's getting viewers. Bean's pumping the viewers in. Let's go. This is Sweetwater Creek, Sweetwater, Tennessee. And sometimes it'll be halfway up on this fence when it rains a lot. It hasn't come out of the banks much this year. Even though it's been wet, it's been kind of, the rains have been spaced out enough where it doesn't run off a lot. So there's Sweetwater Creek. We're coming across the end of the property, and to the neighbor's side. She had chickens, and she moved her chickens so she can clean up her chicken area, and she had rabbits, and the rabbits were a pain in the butt, so she sold her rabbits. They were cute. I did a little bit of rabbit videos mixed in with my garden last year, and if I had to do that chicken job over there, I say at least 8 inches of manure, and hope she gets it there and compost it, and I'll use a little bit of that too. Ooh, boy, that looks dangerous. That would hurt as if I stepped on it. That would hurt. All right, Bean, you come this way. You want me to look at the neighbor's little garden? The neighbor put some tomatoes out, and was it just tomatoes? Oh, she had some celery, but I added some volunteer tomatoes to kind of finish it out, and she's got some Romas, and they look great. And These tomatoes down here are a volunteer plant, but they got good sized ones. Usually volunteers mostly have little tomatoes. And here's another volunteer tomato. These look like a pear. I'm gonna have to look that up. A pear tomato. This is a tomato. Yeah, I think where did it originate? I'm pretty sure it's mine. She didn't say that it was hers, and uh, so I think it was a volunteer of mine, and I brought over just to finish out this bed. But those are some different. I've never seen tomatoes like that before, so I'm gonna see what they turn out to be, and if I like them, I'll probably keep seed for harvest. And here is a volunteer pumpkin or squash that grew in this bed that was trying to take over the entire bed, but these tomatoes said, nope, I'm gonna. And here's some big aromas down here, and she's gonna have some aromas for whatever she wants. Ooh, that one's not gonna. Yeah, there's another pumpkin here, and I put these two pumpkins on the board, but it looks like the smaller one's gonna die and fall off the vine. Bean, come on, there's rats under there. Yeah, she had a rat problem over here, and she vacated the chickens and then hopefully poison all the rats, and then they're gonna clean up and then bring the chickens back. So this is the neighbor's garden, little garden. I don't know. Bean told me to do this. I didn't. And I'm looking for some ripe. Well, not yet. This plant here. No, this one. Oh, there's a tomato confusing me. This is a nightshade plant, and I brought some nightshades over, and they have this blackberry that are delicious, and I've been eating a lot of them. So here's finally my garden. People are dropping in and dropping out because I'm not doing anything exciting. Well, here is a patch of volunteer pumpkins that I brought over that were growing where I planted my fourth corn, and there's a nice tomato in there, so we might get tomatoes at least. And it does have a little squash or something there, so it's starting to produce already. And here is what's left to my half runner beans. And I'm kind of, well, that vine died. I'm gonna take this bean and put in. I got beans in the house that it's not enough to cook with, but I'm gonna harvest again and get more beans. And then I put them with potatoes and butter and bacon and salt and pepper, and I think it's good. I had some last night. It was last lunch yesterday. So these half runners are kind of disappointing. They put out really good early, and now they quit. The reason they call them half runners, they'll run up halfway up the fence and stop, and they're kind of dying back. But there's some more little blossoms, so it's going to kind of drizzle out a few beans here and there. But I got another bean plant over there that's going to blow up. Oh, well, I'll do that. Are these both? Those are both females. Well, this flower is going to go on a date. I'm going to try to get the stamen up. and fertilize. If you want to, oh, I think I got it. And I'll do this one here. It's got water down in that. This is not the best pollinating day for squash. It's been rainy, and that flower down there is full of water, but I pollinated it. But it's already got 3 squash on it, so it must be related to the zucchini that I planted long ago, and they just keep on producing. So I'm gonna move this vine. Ooh, that pollinated yesterday, and I'll have to watch for the squash to come on. Now, where can I move this? There's some, I moved some, where's the third one? Okay. I moved some dirt over here from the neighbors. She had a compost pile, and I said, can I use a little bit of it? And then I just said, well, and I told her, well, I'll just take it all over here. And so if she wanted a little mulch herself, she can, or a little compost, she can get it. And and these little squash, I think they're squash. Ooh, that's a watermelon. Very likely that's a watermelon, but these are a squash of some sort. I've never seen a squash with that sort of leaf, the veins in the leaves. So I'm going to take these, and I'm probably going to plant these. I'm going to plant these where I cut down the corn, which is hopefully in a week. And these are some experimental squash that decided to grow. So 3 squash, if they survive, will do their thing and see what they are. Oh, one of them's actually looks like a watermelon. So and that one here looks like the first one I talked about. And here there's another hail of squash and pumpkins. And this vine started there, and it's gone all over, and it's yet to have a fruit on it. It's deciding to grow all over. Where's the next one? Oh, that one failed too. Okay, I might end up with a big oh, they're going to put a fruit on eventually. There's like female blossoms on the side runners, so eventually it's going to put out something, but it's taking its sweet time. It's deciding to grow up and get a big plant, and then maybe it'll put on a pumpkin or something. This looked like a pumpkin, a very standard pumpkin leaf. They have these little shiny spots in the veins, and that's a very pumpkin-y look. So I want a pumpkin out of that thing. But next here is, I planted in a row here of, these are volunteer tomatoes. I just took the spade and just grabbed a gob and put 4 gobs here, and then I got these training up on these steel posts, and it looks like I'm gonna have to bring some more wire to keep them in the cage. So it's been so rainy, and I've been harvesting it. This has been something that needs to get done. This one here needs to be pulled in. All these, they're growing fast, and a lot of these volunteers, those are decent size for a volunteer, but some of these got regular sized tomatoes on it. There's one right here. That's a regular sized tomato. So Nana might have a volunteer tomato to cut up and eat on our sandwich. And this one here is doing the same thing. Those are a pretty tomato. And they were, well, what happened is I threw some compost down here to make this ground where this corn is richer, because the corn last year in some spots did poorly, or, well, not poorly, but mediocre, not up to my standards. But I put this whole garden, I put rabbit droppings, just kind of thin little cover of rabbit manure, and it certainly didn't hurt the garden. And this corn has shown no signs of having a problem with nutrition, and it's about ready to tassel. When was it planted? It was early May. Was it the 2nd? And there's already some ear buds down along the stalk, and here's a tassel. Here 3 weeks will be ear corn. Pretty close. Especially, we're supposed to get some hot weather. Corn loves hot weather as long as there's water. And it rained this morning, and it ran off the driveway, and it went down this whole, I looked like it went down this row totally. So it watered these 2 rows. So even though the ground's really wet, it got watered again. And I'm going to check the gauge, rain gauge. It's got like 4 June bugs, and well, it's over 30. 3600s. There was 2100s yesterday, so we got about 1500s, including some June bugs. So I'll probably take 100th off when I write it down to count for the June bugs taking up space. Right, Bean? You're the fat June bug. And no more chats. I'm getting viewers. They come in and out. They say, well, it's just a garden, not a cute dog. Bean, bring in some viewers. Okay. I'm doing this all. I'll do these first. And here's my potted tomatoes. These are volunteers that I put in whatever would hold soil, like a toilet that broke, and a planter that the flowers failed. And this tomato here there's not much to it, but it's got actually 6 little tomatoes. And this has been a wet year, and there's been a lot of mold on the leaves, or mildew, whatever's making the leaves turn yellow. So that plant doesn't look very healthy, but it's got a few tomatoes. That's all I wanted. This tomato here actually died, and it's got a tomato on it. I'll just let it ripen a little, finish ripening if it does. And here's an avocado plant that Nana eats avocados every day and throws them in the compost, and they sprout, and we're not going to get no avocados because we don't have the climate, but we take these in the winter and bring them back out and have it just an ornamental avocado plant. And this is a good looking tomato. I think there's 2 here. Is there 2 plants? Yes, but there's some good sized tomatoes on this, and it's out of a toilet tank. The toilet tank's got, the neighbor was doing some remodeling, and I took some scrap wood and put down here, because the toilet tank has got some rods coming out of the bottom. And I said, Well, I placed it on top of where the rods don't touch the ground, so it stays upright. So that was, you know, well, I need to cover that. I might show it. Another tomato, and there's a lot. Well, that one's starting to turn. It's going to be ripe here. And here's a pineapple, and with a pineapple on it. And there's another pineapple plant. And there's a bucket tomato. That's probably about the 5th year in that bucket. I keep adding dirt, and the bucket's on its last legs. It's got a big old crack in it, and it'll bust open, and then I won't have that planter anymore. So here I got under the tarp. I'm carrying out my. I need to. Yeah, it's probably not going to hurt. I'm carrying out my sweet onions, and there's water everywhere. I got to kind of look at these guys. That one there's a Texas sweet onion, and I can't really show anything else, but this tarp is kind of blowing up. Oops. I need to get this water off the top. Find a way. Oh, you almost seen someone fall on his ass. So here we go. I think I'll find a way for this water to drain. I hope I don't break that shutter. Well, it's holding down the tarp, but I'm going to put this brick back on. To keep it from... I wonder if I can pull that up. I'm doing garden work as I'm doing a live stream. Okay. There we go. Bye water. Go water something else. I better put this back on to keep. Okay, that shore's done. And I'm just gonna go water these whatever rain. The water's going down here to wherever. And water stuff. Okay, and here's some squash I need to get these in the ground. Nana had a squash that she used in a hot pot, and she liked it, and I saved the seeds, and I'm gonna told her I'm gonna get those squash before the winter, before the season's over. And I got 5 plants here, and I'll put those in 3 hills and start those where the sweet onions were and some potatoes were. It's too wet to do anything right now. And I'll get those. And here are there's 5 pots of more volunteer tomatoes. Some of them are starting to bloom. And I used the mulch from the neighbors, the compost. They need a good weeding. And then there's a nightshade growing in there too. I'll just leave it. And here's some earlier this tomatoes. See, there's some kind of disease going there, but it's still putting out tomatoes, and more of the neighbor's mulch. I guess most of that's last year's mulch. Actually, it came from the chicken coop, or in the duck area, and it was too rich last year, and it made the leaves curl on the tomatoes. On a lot of them, they produced some tomatoes, but it rotted enough over the winter, so the tomatoes worked a lot better this year. And there's a nice big one there, several there. And this here are nightshade plants. And I've been picking the berries off and eating them. Here's one real close. They're not poisonous, according to rumor. Oh, those are sweet. Oh my gosh. Um, these are volunteer, and I had, was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, there was this plant. It was just a weed, which these look like, and it had holes in the leaves. And I thought, well, those could be nightshades. And when I grew up in South Dakota, I my grandmother would have nightshade berry plants in her garden, and we'll just pick them off and eat them. These are just so delicious. I can entertain entertain everybody that's watching for quite a while and eat nightshade berries, but I'm going to keep going. So that's a nice surprise to get nightshades. All right. So, and here, okay, this is my volunteer tomato that I rescued from the winter and I took inside, and it survived. And I brought it back out in March and put it in, and it's climbed to the top of this cage. I put in a support in case it wanted to fall over, and I can add an extension. I can use some zip ties and add a twig, and add, if it got tall enough, to add an extension if it needed. But it was I think I'm making chili Friday, and these ripe tomatoes are going in the pot. So, and I've already used, I made 3 pots of chili recently, and it's some off of here have been in each pot, so it's been adding to the chili recipe the last several weeks. And Bean, are you still here? Beep, 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 beep. I saw. That's okay, Bean. It's okay. I got to keep track of you. You're such a good dog. I got to make sure every 10, 15 minutes you're still around. Okay, enough of that tomato. And I'll come back to this later. And here is my regular, well, these 2 here, there's actually a nice tomato on that second one. These 2 tomatoes here are volunteer. There's a couple cabbage that didn't make it, so I'll just put some volunteer tomatoes in. This one finally put a tomato on. And here's my dedicated, or my tomatoes I started from seed inside and transplanted out in March, and they all got tomatoes on them, various sizes. Some just started putting tomatoes on. So, okay. And here's just a mess of marigolds, nightshades, and I got some cantaloupes, volunteer cantaloupes, that I'm gonna let. They're going into the corn, but they don't hurt the corn. But once the corn gets cut out here in about 3 weeks, that the cantaloupes can take over this area and have a few cantaloupes. These are probably descended from other volunteer cantaloupes last year. I'm pretty sure that even 3 different generations. And here's a few more volunteer tomatoes, and a lot of them got, yeah, that one's got a big tomato, this one's got big tomatoes, and this one's got decent sized tomatoes. So I'm happy with this group of volunteers. They got for the most part, big tomatoes. And as I said before, this is my third corn. Yeah, I think I talked about it. These marks here are from the corn borer. I'm gonna have to spray. My first corn, a lot of the ears have worms. They didn't hurt the kernels much, but they're a nuisance. They just ate the top of the silks and didn't hurt the pollination or anything, but they're kind of icky. And I think after this video, I'm gonna pick some corn because these leaves are starting to dry. And boy, this is shoulder high. This is shoulder high. This part of the garden is especially down here, the shade in the afternoon shades half of this corn plot. And you can see the lower part is slightly shorter, but looking terrific. But having these trees removed will give it a real decent amount of morning sun. I say it may get roughly 3 hours, and then it would be 10:30 to 2. It's gonna get pretty close to 7 hours of sun, which is good enough. So having trees removed is going to help this part of the garden. And next year I'm going to try tomatoes like these over there, now that we're going to have some real good sunlight. And I'm walking down this row. You can see some compost down there with eggshell in it. And it was nasty. I brought in 3 shovels. Like, if anybody knows what a grain shovel is, it's a pretty big shovel. It's aluminum. And I brought 3 scoops of compost. It was really smelly. But I put it down here on the tomatoes to give them a little more boost. And I put on, about 8 of them or so got compost. And at least it quit stinking. Bean, are you still around? BB. You gotta be up here. Bean, I'm in the same spot. 1 people watching. You coming down? All right, Bean. Bean says, "Phew, would you put this rotten egg here?" Yeah, I got to spray this corn we're supposed to get 1 more shot of rain tomorrow, and then I'm going to do a lot of spraying. Corn, tomatoes, cabbage, because if you put it on and it rains, it kind of washes it out. But these tomatoes are looking good, and I'm going to have to take sticks and I would dig a hole about 6 inches and put in a limb, a dead limb, and I would put up here to keep it from falling over. And I need to do it while the ground's wet, and that's within the week. I'll have those. I don't know whether to see, some of these are just barely over the top of the cages, but they're going to be loaded with tomatoes. So and this is a real pretty tomato plant, actually. But here is this tomato hill had 2 plants. That one's got more. And this little one that's crowded out is the one that's putting tomatoes. It's got 2 down there. It's got 2 up here. And It barely got any sunlight, but it's not worried about anything. It's putting tomatoes. Hi, Bean. Nobody's watching, Bean. I scared him away. I scared him away on a Wednesday afternoon. Okay. Well, I'm talking to myself. Okay. Well, is that a real bee? Well, you flew off. And here's a volunteer squash, plunkin or whatever, that I let go, and it better not crowd out this corn. So it was in the perfect spot. It was corn here, the squash. Ooh, bad boys. That's just why I got to spray. Those are probably squash borer worms. And I sprayed last week, but I got to spray again and kill these eggs. Okay. And cabbage. These two here are volunteer, and they're both flat Dutch. And this one's looking good. And oh, I forgot to show the other volunteers. I'll go up there after this top garden. Here are some. These are Jersey Wakefields, and these were harvested from seed last year. And I started the seed in the house, so I didn't have to buy. Starter plants are like they're $6 a piece now in a lot of places, and that you can buy cabbage for $6. So why do that? It's getting ridiculous. So, and the sun's coming out, and the tomatoes are getting a going. I got frozen tomatoes from last year. I'm trying to finish before these get ripe, and I probably will make it. I got probably three more weeks of, or is it 4? Might be 4. I think it's 4. 4 frozen bags. I actually can take 2 of the bags and, no, I can't do that anymore because I have tomatoes here. I can't use 2 frozen bags and use fresh tomatoes. It'd be too much for the Instapot. Okay, red potatoes. When it dries out, they'll be dug. And they're winding down. Their leaves are turning yellow. And I'm concerned. I dug potatoes yesterday down there. And there was 2 that had rotten spots. But I think there were spots where a potato grew real fast and they cracked open. When potatoes grow too fast, they'll crack and leave a hollow spot in the middle. But these might have cracked and left the hollow. The hollow made it to the skin, and dirt got in there and they rotted. But I'll carve away. They're big potatoes, but I'll carve out the rotten, what's left of it, because I took a kitchen sprayer and sprayed in there and cleaned them out. And I'll salvage them, and I better do it soon. And I'll have some potatoes. And see, since these vines have taken over that spot, I have to go clear around. And no more chats. It's funny, I get chats early in the stream, and then say hi to Bean, and then there's no more chats. I chat all day. But I don't know, YouTube does weird stuff on us. Okay, here's some these little plants, cabbages. Those are volunteer. I brought some mulch over that had seed in it. There's 2 there. there's one down here. I thought I had 7. 1 and oh, there's one down there. There's 1, 2. There's 6. 2 more. 2 more. That's 6. And there's one in one of these pots up here. But I put mulch that had cabbage seed because I threshed out the seed last winter, and I got enough seed for for 100 years. Bean, squirrel, bean, squirrel. You know what squirrel means? Squirrel. Up there. The squirrel's gone. I hate squirrels. And I dug out some toads. Oh, I left my box out. Actually, it probably helped it. It was really muddy from the potatoes I dug. And I'll let that dry out and hopefully bring it in before the next rain. And these toads came out of she had a dumpster, and the guy was about ready to take it, and I always looking for things to hold water, and these are actually good. I'm gonna pick corn here shortly, and I'll pick corn in it today. And she was throwing them away, but I'm gonna use them, and also use them stuff like that to collect water. Like over there's all kinds of things. This wheelbarrow collects water, but it also leaks. And I got this nightshade plant in here to catch the drip, or at least some of it. Because this nightshade for some reason starts wilting about 2 days after it's been watered. So I'll just keep it watered all the time. Done the potatoes. So, white onions. They're starting to, when they're starting to fall over, they quit. Well, they say they quit taking sugars from the leaves into the bulb. And there's a few of them that are about done. You can see that these are starting to get pretty good sized. And I weeded them a couple days ago in the heat. It was hot, and I saw there's a lot of grass in there. I better get it pulled out because it'll compete with the onions. And I got pretty much all the grass and weeds out. And let's see, this is the 18th. I've been usually taking the white onions or other onions, the non-sweet onions, about the 1st of July. So we're about there. We're on schedule. And where's some berries? And one person watching. Those are good. Are you ready? Yeah, I had to check a lot of these ears that I didn't pick for earworms, and I open them up, take the worm out, kill the worm, and then just put this husk back in place, and there's corn ready to pick again. There goes a train. Norfolk Southern. Yep. Quit honking. Okay. Right, Bean? I'm a trained dog. could. I'm gonna take this. I got to take this garbage can I used to catch water. Now it leaks more and it gets holds water. My son broke down a bunch of boxes and used our garbage cans up, so I'm gonna have to take that up get the garbage out today. The rest of it. So, all right. I don't know if this is a nightshade place, or watermelon place. I I felt sorry. I didn't want to hold these nightshades out. Oop! I broke that one. Well, it's probably. And I need to pull that one. But I'm trying to get these watermelons on the concrete where they'll get full sun again, better sun. But they're getting, we'll see. I hope I don't mess up my, watermelons have been a tough thing for me to do right. And, but they cut a tree right over there that been blocked the 9 o'clock. Well, wait a minute. Actually, it's shaded over here until about 10:30. But now it's going to be sunny from 6:30 till close to 11. What time is it now? 11:20. It'll be 10:30. So it'll get 5 hours of good sun, and then it'll get 4 hours of afternoon. So it'll get plenty of sun, even though the nightshades are kind of, they're not blocking all the light, but they're blocking a good part of it. And here's a nightshade that's about shoulder high. And with the butternut squash, and I got a lot of squash here. Got 2 there, got 3, 4. There could be about 10. Oh, there's a nice big one there. What you rolling in, Bean? You smell something stinky? Get on your back. And there's one blooming over there. I'll let it pollinate itself. I think I'm going to get enough squash. Nightshade. And here is cantaloupes. And I put them here because they were going to get the most sun in the garden, in my opinion, because we got sun all the way 10:30, and then it'll start getting at 1 p.m. till 6:37. So it gets good 8 to 9 hours. And because cantaloupes like a lot of sun to taste good. So, and I think they're, and I don't fertilize, I don't take the blossoms and fertilize like these other things, because there's so many male blossoms that ants, bees, and whatnot will definitely, in the area that these cantaloupes are taken up is pretty large, and that's a sign that they're growing fast, the vines, and once they get fruit on there, the fruit will do good. So, and we'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to some good cantaloupe. And here is, I got a pumpkins, and I think there's four on the vine. And this one's starting to ripen. I mean, this is a good jack-o'-lanterns type. I threw a bunch of old pumpkin seeds, and the only ones that work were basically jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. Here's another younger one that's getting big, but that's a very typical, you go to Walmart and spend $6 and get a pumpkin like that. And I'll cut it off here when it's nearly ripe, are nearly orange, and take it in the house and store it in a cool basement until Halloween, and I'll carve it out. And those are uh, very. And I didn't talk about these beans, and in every video I talk about these beans. They're climbing beans, and looks like we're about 2 days from picking. And they were beans I planted in a row over here in the other garden. Uh, you can see last year's vines on the fence that haven't rotted off. And the third generation from a plant that started 2 years ago, and it climbed and took up the whole fence. And last year, a volunteer from it grew, and it climbed the fence, not as big, but I saved some seed, and then I got these guys. And if they produce like these others, I'm going to just be loaded up on beans here the rest of the summer, until frost maybe. So, okay, here's what's left to the lettuce. It's been too rainy to cut, or I'm too busy digging and picking other things. But there's a little down here I can harvest, pick around, and get some leaves. One more salad. And then I'll save when the seed comes in and starts showing, it'll bloom out. And then you start seeing these white little tufts where the seed, they're kind of like dandelion seed. They'll bloom out and then they'll float away a little bit. So I'll get them before they float away and store in the house and shell them out uh, to have a bunch of onion. And I might get a massive amount of onion seed this year. And see, there's these I can cut. Oh, those got a head on it. So I might cut outside leaves and make one more salad. And I've been having salads since about every day since I think about the 10th of April, I was starting to have salads, and I would just salad after salad. And now the carrots. The last thing on my mind is carrots. They're not going anywhere. They're just getting big, I think. And they're not blooming. They're not trying to throw up a bloom stalk, which I don't want. I don't know. I got so much mulch here, and it's wet. Oh, this one's kind of big. Oh, those carrots are way down there. Well, I can't really show that. Last week I showed a carrot. 63 minutes. Well, I'm going to keep going. And I normally dig these in, if I plant them in the spring, I can get carrot. I can, if I wanted a stew, I would go ahead and just, well, that's a tomato, ain't it? I think I see a tomato. Yeah, it's blooming too. There's a tomato up in the carrot row. report. And it's blooming in the carrot row, and I'll just leave it when the carrots, or try to leave it when the carrots are pulled. What am I going to say? Oh, yeah, I don't, I got some neck bones. I want to make carrots, potatoes, and beef neck bones, and probably some tomatoes and other things. But that's weeks from now. Okay, now here is the spot here. I'm going to bring those squash in that I have in planters. I got to weed it out. And I'll probably leave the nightshades, some of them. And I'm thinking of putting over here, this is where the potatoes were that I just finished digging yesterday. I'm thinking of putting a row of corn, but I might row it differently. I might put 2 rows 10 inches apart, and so it will pollinate pretty good. So I'll use a different configuration. Technically, I want 1 row there, but I want pollination to be optimum. So it'll be 2 rows kind of close together, but thin enough where they'll all get sun. And we know they're going to get sun now. Next is more cabbage. Jersey Wakefield, Mother Jersey Wakefield. Here's the, and I don't see any holes. Captain Jack's Thuricide. If you don't have to cover cabbage, Captain Jack's. No one's watching this advertisement for Captain Jack's Bonine or whatever. Jersey Wakefield. And these last 3 are Flat Dutch. And I told Nana when some of these heads get about ready, I'm going to just directly cut them, shred them, and we're going to do kraut instead of putting them in the fridge for 3-6 months. Get the kraut started when it's ready. And here, I wonder if this one's stretched. Nope, not quite. When the tomatillos fill the husk, the husk gets smooth, and it actually cracks open at the bottom. And those they're not filled in yet, but they can be picked any time. So this one here, that one's not. I've had a few fall off, and I sprayed them because bugs were eating them. The funny thing is, the tomatillos, if they get a bug in their fruit, they'll just drop the fruit and go on. So I see a few on the other side that's dropped recently, but it's not like an epidemic. Well, that's just terrible. I do have sunflowers. Where are the sunflowers? I never failed at sunflowers, but this year I did. Is that a sweat bee? I almost got maybe stung. Yeah. I started sunflowers in March. I planted them, and only 4 came up. And no, those are the newer ones. I can't tell the new ones from the old one. This is an old one that came up in April. It's 6 inches high. It's still alive, and it's showing a bud. So no sunflower seeds to harvest this year. I'm really looking bad. It's really looking like it's a disaster. Lots of mildew on the leaves. It could be because the carryover mildew from last year didn't hurt the sunflowers, but this year it did. Or it's just been so wet and cool that it's not sunflower weather. It's mildew weather. And it's a disaster. But I don't care. Sunflowers tend to shade everything out around them. So it helps. And here is they're supposed to be bell peppers. They're not a bell shape, but they're a sweet pepper. So I took one in and put in the chili, and I tasted it, and it was sweet, and I just put it in the chili, and I'm concerned that these are touching the dirt. I'm gonna pull this. It hasn't rotted yet. When they touch the dirt, they tend to rot on the end, or worse. And I'll just let those go for now. Volunteer tomato that I tied up, and when I tied it up, it was pointed down. The top was pointed down, and it's a funny thing, tomatoes will right themselves and head for the sky. And here's another volunteer tomato that finally put tomatoes on. Where's those cherries? Gotta watch these. Oh, that one's turning. This is definitely a cherry tomato. There may have been a bird take a poop, which seed was seed, and these are cherry tomatoes. Because they got, normally tomato on a branch will put out, 3, 4, 5 tomatoes at most, and these are like 8, 9, 10, and they're smaller. It's a cherry. I didn't grow cherry tomatoes last year. They came from somewhere. It wasn't, I don't think it's a variation of a hybrid either. This is and this is another one. This one here is crazy. This one probably has 20 cherry tomatoes on it. Once they get a little bigger, I'll count them and tell and say how many's on there. There's another little branch. Okay, next is the sweet potatoes. Ooh, I gotta stick this branch back in the wickets. Stay in there. Stay in there for another hour. It'll drop back out. I'll have to secure that a little hard or a little better next when I get a chance. Okay, just another volunteer that looks like a normal volunteer. Small. That looks like the one I took in for the winter. The tomatoes got a little bit of a ribbed look to them, and those could have came in on a bird. So I'm starting to think a lot more things are coming in the bird poop than compost piles, at least in the tomato world. Sweet potatoes, purple sweet potatoes, Nana's sweet potatoes. These are, she had them, I grew them here last year about in the same spot. They got a real pretty purple flower. And there's 6 hills here, and what I did last fall, I said I'm going to try an experiment, because they always take these slips. They make a cutting, and they put in dirt, and it starts growing. And Nana said, "What are you doing? Why'd you do that?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna try to grow them over the winter." And they grew in the house over the winter, and I put out plants that had some of them had an 18-inch vine, and I stuck in the garden here in March, it's early March. Well, it was mid-March, and they didn't freeze, and here they are. And a couple of these hills were a couple potatoes that she didn't eat because I harvested them too late last year. So I'm going to try to do better this year and harvest. I bet it's going to be July when I start investigating these hills and see if there's any potatoes. This is the second year I've grown these sweet potatoes, and make it a bigger success this year. And one thing about sweet potatoes, they pretty much keep the weeds down where their vines are thick, except that black nightshade. There's one of the potatoes is crawling up on it, so I'll just let it. Oh, what's that noise? It's funny. I don't know. I get chats like the first part of the video, and I haven't had chats for an hour, so I don't know. But I'm just, ooh, here we go. This corn, This is the last stalk of corn to pollinate. And there's silks down there, this poor little plant. But I got one over here that I'm not sure that's pollinated, and I used its pollen on it. So I got here in time, and it's got a little here on its own stalk. I don't know if I got any pollen. Well, I'll put back over here. That's hard to, and the silks are wet. So I'm gonna go check that. So every stalk that grew is most likely gonna have an ear of corn. It could be a real small ear of corn, but it'll have an ear. This corn here was my first planting. That was planted, it was planted 10 days before the other corn up there, but the other corn up there got ripe first. I got 26 ears off the same amount of hills, and I only got 4 ears off of here, but this is gonna have a bunch of corn here. Oh boy, that looks good. Oh, I'm gonna have corn for lunch. I'm gonna have some corn. But the top of this patch got more sun, and it's pretty much ripe, and then got some down here that's just started pollinating, so it's 2 weeks. These are looking pretty good for the bottom of the, so, and it's certainly gotten a lot of water lately. I would, off our driveway, I would send that water, I would send it down these corn rows, and I would send it along the end of the shed and down these rows. It has gotten so much water. Okay. And here, I might put in another row or 2 narrow rows of more sweet corn. See, the sweet potatoes are going to come over this way, and they probably could come clear to the corn, but I'm thinking once this corn is cut out, which is not that far away, I'll put in a single row or kind of an odd 2-row configuration, and put more corn and just keep the sweet potatoes at bay. We're going to definitely have these. These might be dug out in July, like a mid-July. Oh, I forgot the 78 minutes to 2 people watching. Cauliflower, I need to move a vine. Get back in there. You got plenty of, go over there to the taters. Cauliflower, had some old seed to get rid of. Are you gonna have and no cauliflower heads yet, but they're healthy. And let's see. Well, they're healthy. There are no bug holes. I spray them like the cabbage. No bugs. Okay. I bored everyone to death in Jim Miller's garden, and let in the sun. That area over there, and when I started gardening down here in 2017, virtually no light would be coming through this area, and I would get real poor sun, and I could barely, on the upper garden beyond the fence, I would barely get, but tomatoes sometimes tomatoes wouldn't even put a tomato on. They would get 10 foot high with no tomatoes. That's a lack of sunlight. But cutting trees here and there, and then the neighbor cut down a spruce. And where's that dog? Bean? The dog is right here. The dog is right. Bean, you want to go back inside? You want to go inside? Oh, she knows. She knows. You ready to go back inside? You got exercise. She says, yeah, it got hot. I, she says dogs don't sweat. I just open my mouth and pant. That's how I sweat. So I guess that's about it. Oh, I didn't even talk about my look at these acorn squash. I planted them too thick. These down here are doing a lot. There's one there. There's one there. There's one that's just bloomed. There's gonna be a few in the short term. I thought there was, oh, there's two there. One's speckled and one's not. And I didn't even show these other pumpkins. There's like almost at the third or the fourth pumpkin. Hey, Bean, are you doing, or are you just sitting? Okay. A pumpkin here and a pumpkin there. And a compost pile here. Ooh, is that heat? I think that's heat coming from inside. Whew, it stinks. I had it piled up like this and it's rotted down. And I got all this stuff, a lot of pokeweed and stuff and tree branches and stuff, because if you let stuff go, it's just going to be another jungle. This over here, except the piles, well, including the piles, was basically a thicket, and you can't even walk through it. And I picked away at it and got all the stuff cleaned up, and now it used to be a nice lawn with a tree or two. That's what it's going to be, going back to that. So they just didn't take care of their yard. And I just go ahead and pick away at it and take advantage of it and make some flower beds, raised garden beds out of the materials, and experiment and try to grow stuff over there. So, and I mow their yard too. So, okay, Bean. I think I'm done. 5 watching. Bean. Let's get 8 watching the Bean. Let's get 8 watching in my video. Bean says I'm hot. And there's flies, there's bugs. There's just still 5. Bean, you're going to have a good nap, aren't you? Well, there's 6 watching. Let's get 7. Bean, what's Mommy doing? Mommy's at work. Bean, you're the best dog. You're the best dog. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, Bean, we didn't get our 7 viewers that I wanted. So, I'll kind of pan the garden. Got corn to pick in 2 spots. After go inside and get a drink, take the dog back up and pick some corn and boil some corn and have lunch. Ooh, it's 12 o'clock. All I've been doing is videoing. Almost 85 minutes. Well, I'm going to have a good archive of the progress of my garden. So until Next time, I might do a Sunday, possibly, because Sunday I get some decent viewers. And I can tell these clouds are starting to kind of raise up a little, and we might get some rain here. Not right away, it's going to take hours to develop, but it's looking rainy again. For now, I may do a stream Sunday. I do Sundays a lot, but I think I was digging Tater Sunday, and it's been raining and other things, and so for now, and Jim Miller's Garden, and until next time, we'll see you then, and I hope you enjoy this video. And I like this. I wish there was more chats, but I don't know. It might be YouTube's fault, because I get chats at the front and that's it. So I don't know. All right, next time, Jim Miller's Garden. Subscribe.